future of the party is right here in a barn on a Thursday. But that's not just hyperbole, and that's not a throwaway line. We're going to have to figure out why are our policies, when we pull our policies, like paid family medical leave, which, by the way, every other damn country in the world has it, except us. Now 13 states, since Minnesota has it. Those policies are super popular. If you went out and polled people in Texas, if they wanted paid family and medical leave, it'll poll 80%. It'll poll 80%. Same thing with, would you like us to make sure that our kids can't get into our unlocked guns and shoot each other? That polls very well too, because people like that. But we as a party, as Beto's saying, I'm going to give you my example on this, because look, I own this. My job was to go out there and win 7 swing states, and to get old white men without hair to not be terrible and to do the right thing. And I say this as a school teacher, my teachers here all know this, when you teach a lesson and half the students don't get it, it's not because the students aren't very bright, it's because they may learn differently or you didn't do a good job of teaching it. And I think we get so stuck up on message, we get so stuck that we just get the right charismatic leader, the next Barack Obama will come along and we'll hire some consultants and we'll have this perfect message for them. They freaking won by saying people were eating dogs and cats. They won on that, so it wasn't that. But it's this issue that I think Beto's at. Our policies are good for people. We know that we improve people's lives. We're in it for the right reasons. But we're losing these folks, and it's not the 77 million voters in Donald Trump. I've said this. If you're going to buy 6 flags, stick them on your truck, buy a picture of Donald Trump looking like he's all buffed out, you're going to vote. I knew they were going to vote. What I was worried about is people who thought both parties were the same, and that it wouldn't make any difference. And I think the future of our party is what Beto's saying is, when I was growing up, it was clear to me that the Democrats stood with working people. Social Security survivor benefits was there for my mom when she needed it. Public school education, college was affordable. They were there for us. We tell a lot of our neighbors, not bad people, they don't know exactly what we stand for. They don't know if we believe it. And I think Beto's making this point is, let's throw it all out there, fight like hell, and show them that we understand exactly why they're feeling the way they're feeling, exactly why they're so nervous, exactly why it matters to go to the polls, because it'll improve their lives. So I think the future lies with those who are bold. I think the future lies with those who aren't afraid to say, we're not taking your bait on this. I'm not going to fight fights. I'm not going to demonize little kids for who they are just because you don't simply like that. We're going to fight for the things that matter. And I sure the hell would rather go down that way than try and come up with some wonky message that doesn't get there and doesn't improve people's lives. So we got to
I asked you to go back in time with me at the outset, all the way back to last Friday with Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump. Now go with me into the future. Generations from today, so our great-great-great-grandkids. And they're reading their history books, if they're still allowed in Texas. And they're like, okay, to the teacher, let me get this straight. This guy said he was going to be a dictator on day one. He was lifting lines wholesale from Mein Kampf, saying that immigrants were poisoning the blood of America. He tried to destroy the Constitution. He ignored a co-equal branch of government. He called veterans suckers and losers. He defied a federal judge's order, precipitated a constitutional crisis. What did you guys do? What did the people of America in 2025 do? So the line in the sand, it has been drawn. It is very clear what we're up against. You all are students of history. I mean, go back to the first democracy in the Greek Peninsula 2,500 years ago. Go back to the Roman Republic. Go back to the Weimar Republic in the 1920s and the 1930s. While you're twiddling your thumbs and playing nice and trying to be bipartisan, they are killing your fucking country and taking away their democracy. We are going to fight, and we are going to surrender, and I plan on fighting. That's how. Let's do it. Amen. Oh, Carol Roach from Sugarland. Where is Carol? Here comes Carol. Carol is wearing a Harris.
Thank you for that,
Thank you so much. I am Carol, and I am the mother of 2 children, amongst many other things. And my youngest actually has Down syndrome, so she's technically disabled. And I have had to educate myself on things like the IEPs they mentioned earlier. We did early childhood interventions and help her some of her services that she needed. And I am very discouraged by all the attacks on all the services that I'm very upset about all the attacks on all the types of departments that offer services to not only disabled children, but also when they're adults. Things like Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, disability, the Department of Education, making sure that my child will get an equal education. And so my question is, what do we do now to support those people who may be losing access to these things very shortly? And what is the plan to rebuild should we get the chance?
There's several really good points in here. Carol, first of all, thank you for sharing. Thank you for trusting us with your story. And look, don't underestimate, you're hearing this, the power of story and what Beto's talking about, the time to fight now. There's going to be a real push, and I was saying this, that he gave you the history on this. The road to those authoritarian regimes is littered with people telling you you're overreacting. You're overreacting. You're not. You're not overreacting. So start with that. You're not overreacting. And then telling the stories that are real and that matter to people. We need to start using language better. Shame on any one of us again if we ever use the word entitlement when we're talking about these programs like Social Security. They are not entitlement programs. We pay into them. They return money back to us. And we have made a decision in our society that you can't do it all yourself. You know, these people, they're all apparently self-made men. You know, they did it themselves. No one else helped them. They built all their own damn roads. They built all their own water treatment plants. They want to say anything you do as community is socialism. Well, the fact is, we have determined, and this is what we need to call them on. That's why your congressman should be standing here and listening to Carol and saying, why was he okay when he answered a question coming out from the press when they said, are you okay with the cuts to Medicare and Medicaid? He said, yeah, I'm fine with them. What that means is he is making a determination that we long ago agreed that we're kind of in this together. And but by the grace of God goes each and every one of us. And the money that we put in makes sure that each one of us gets those services we need. And we are not doing a good enough job of telling the stories of why they matter to each and every one of us. Why, again, if you're a billionaire, you don't give one shit if you get a Social Security check, because you don't need one. It's the same thing. It's the same thing when they complain about property taxes, and then local small communities don't have any money, so they can't have a local swimming pool that's a municipal swimming pool. Well, if you've got one in your backyard, you don't give a damn about the municipal swimming pool. This whole thing about selfishness and about, again, if you're talking about school vouchers, that is a tax giveaway to the wealthy already getting it. So, we as Democrats have to use our language better. We have to tell the stories of why this impacts people. And then we have to make the case, by the way, for our economic growth. Okay, they're complaining that we're spending money on early childhood education. For every dollar you spend on early childhood education, you get $12 back into the economy. For everything that we teach a child, like Carol's child or my child, that they're able to be more self-sufficient when they get out of school, they're able to then pay their taxes and be part of society. Not only do they live a high-quality life, they make safe work better. And we've allowed them to make this pitch that it's about the wealthy are creating all these jobs and we can't tax them. I'm just saying, maybe you knew this. brighter than I am. You might have known this. When I got to Congress, I went through my first year. You go in there, they give you, they do that in-processing briefing, and they said, well, you're gonna have to recognize many of you are gonna take a pay cut. And I'm sitting there as a public school teacher saying, oh my God, this is 4 times more money than I've ever seen. But I got to August and my check went up. And I looked at my pay stub and I said, why am I getting more money on this? And I said, oh, they made a mistake. They're not taking on Social Security anymore. So I went to the payroll office and they said, you made a mistake. And they said, they're looking at me like, you're a congressman, you should know this shit. They said, there's a cap on Social Security. You don't pay it after you make that much. And I'm like, well, that's a rip-off. Why is that the case? If anybody tells you Social Security's in trouble, it's a very simple fix. Just have everybody pay Social Security on money of it. That's all you have to do. Oh, that's good. We don't do it. Did you know that there's a cap? There's a cap. Yeah, they're stealing your money. We got to do better. Remember they did the whole defund police thing, which of course we were not doing? They're defunding America, and they're really doing it. They're defunding not just the police, they're defunding Social Security, they're defunding our schools, they're defunding defense, they're defunding the roads. We got to get better at our messaging for fighting with it, defunding our libraries.
All right, let's get, we're trying to get as many people in the time that we have left. Let's get Marley Beto from Missouri City. Do I have Marley?
I'll go faster.
No,
God, I remember now what was hard about Houston. It's hot as hell. And it's just, I'm like a snowman. I'm like melting. I'm like a snowman.
We're going to go to Amber. We're going to go to Amber Finn. Amber. Okay.
Out here. I just want to say it's surreal. I watched you in the DNC as a national delegate, and now I'm staying here. Companies here. Little background about myself: I am from Harris County. I'm a BDR. I started as a BDR. I started in Jefferson County, which is rural Texas. I was on Lamar University. And so this is my question for you all. How does the plan to the terms of advocating for working class in Texas rural communities that are largely rejected? What is the plan to engage besides the time we're having today?
Yeah. Again, the National Party serves a purpose, but they're not the leadership. They're not going to come save us, but they do have the resources. And we were talking about this earlier. When we fight these 7 swing state presidential elections, no money goes to the other state, which means there's no money for the local party, there's no money for the local congressional candidate, there's no money for the local school board member, whatever it would be. We bled them dry, and over the years, Republicans went out and won all of these local seats. They won all of this, and they invested. So I said, look, it's, they always say it's not always about the money. Sometimes it sure is. And we need to make sure that we're funding our parties in our states. We need to make sure that local control and decisions are being made, and that we're supporting them in the ways that we think, that they think, the local folks, that we can win these elections. And I think, again, Beto's been talking about it all night. He's got me believing as I think about this. We have got to somehow figure out why 80 million Americans stayed home. Many of them middle-class folks who thought that Donald Trump and Elon Musk and the rest of this circus was going to be better for them. How did that happen? And then figure out listening to local folks and saying, here's how we can win here. If we don't believe it, look, in many of these places, my congressional district, when I won my congressional district by 30 points in 2008. In 2016, Donald Trump won that district by 18 points, just that amount of time. So I would say to all of you is, don't write these places off. Don't write any corner of America off, any congressional district. Give them the resources, help train the candidates, do things like powered by people that get people engaged, and just decide, I'm going to do Beto's. I worry about this. We should all, me especially. I'm going to be setting up my board in a rocking chair. They're going to say, what did you do to fight for the democracy? It better be everything we could do. And I think each and every one of us want to be in this fight. We've got to provide the avenues where that fight is. And I don't think the Democratic Party, as it's structured right now, maybe does that. Just by the way, we are not Democrats in Minnesota. We form two parties. We are Democrats, Farmer, Labor Party. And I think that gets a little closer to where we should be. How
many of you have been to Dalhart, Texas? I don't believe you, but that's more people who live in Dalhart, Texas. So raise your hands. Tim, it's at the very top of the panhandle. It is so red, you can see it glowing from outer space when you're orbiting Earth.
It's like a 95% Trump.
It's very Republican. But to Tim's point, I don't give credit to the Republican Party so much, nor do I blame the people of Dalhart. But it's Democrats who frankly, present company excluded, stopped showing up and fighting for the people that they purported to serve and represent. Let's be honest with ourselves. For too long, if you were black, if you were brown, Democrats said, you know what, I already got their votes. It's in the bank. I'm not going to show up and listen to them. I could care less. If you're white and you're rural, you know what, we're never going to win there. I'm not going to show up there either. I'm just going to hope demographically that this state grows, and I keep banking on these things, and my account gets so large that ultimately we have a majority. The stupidest fucking strategy ever invented in the world. Yeah. I don't know who came up with it, but we're not buying it. I called somebody that I met while I was campaigning in Dalhart. And you all know, and you got sick of me saying we went to every one of the 254 counties, right? 2018, tried to do it in 2022. And I said, hey, I was calling when you were having the wildfires up there. Is everybody okay? Tell me how you guys are doing. And then we started talking politics. I said, what are folks talking about in Dalhart? Check this out. Number one issue, public ed. He said, our public schools, that's the economic lifeline. It's the largest employer in Dalhart, Texas. It's the source of pride. Friday night lights, right? That is Dalhart, Texas. And the governor, the Republican governor, wants to drain whatever resources we have and send them to the rich kids in Dallas. People are pissed off. Issue number two, we're a rail hub here in Dalhart. Union jobs are really important. There is no one standing up for organized labor in Dalhart, Texas. So folks are pissed about that. Third issue, immigration. It's not a negative one in Dalhart. We're an agricultural community, and folks travel thousands of miles for the privilege of picking our food and making sure that our local economy is working. To Tim's point, not a single Democrat on the ballot to make the case about fair wages and labor and public education and an immigration policy that means that if you want to come to this country, we're going to make sure that it's safe, that it's fair, that it's legal, that it's orderly, that you play by the rules, that America benefits from that. We have to fight on every front, in every district, in every single part of the state. That's the way it's arranged. That's a good question. Okay, we're coming up, and Tim, if you have time, we've got one more submitted question, and then I asked Aisha, so no pressure, to pick someone from the audience who's raising their hand.
We'll just try and go. I think, Beto, if I could, on some of it, if folks just want to make a question, just say, here's what you should be doing, here's what I think, just fast, we can get through more people.
Let's do this. We've got one more prepared that someone submitted. It's James Michael Robinson. That's the last one, and then we're going to follow Tim's lead on this. Yeah, James Michael Robinson? Here we go.
We're pretty happy about that.
Thank you for coming here tonight, gentlemen. As a retiree, as a veteran, now on Social Security for the first time, and about to go on Medicare. I've been very concerned, but I want to say tonight, for the first time since November, there's a glimmer of hope. Really inspired by what I hear tonight. But why aren't our Democratic leadership being more aggressive
No, well, thank you for all that. I only got a couple more years. How is it to get that Social Security? I used to say this as a teacher. Teachers know this. I worked my ass off because I wanted those kids to get the best education and go out and achieve their dreams. But I'm a little selfish. I wanted them to get a good job, pay their taxes, so I can collect Social Security and retire. That's how it works. So I'm happy you're on it. Look, Beto and I are asking this. When this started to happen, I heard that private screen would do something. I called a few people up. I called him. I talked to Bernie Sanders, who's working his ass off. And we get to decide what the party looks like. We get to decide what the future looks like. And I don't have the answer. Look, I know where my place is. I got an 18-year-old Gus, and I'm without Gus out there. I'm having one of those dad talks with him. I was giving Gus my wisdom on what he'd done wrong. You know, I was being, because I know these things, right? I'm a dad. In the middle of it, he gives me the old, says the guy who got his ass kicked by Donald Trump. I'm like, okay. Well, look, we need to acknowledge what happened. What I said, and what we're saying here is, we need to go out and listen to people. Look, people are telling you what you need to do. People are standing up and saying, this is what is important to us. People are saying, this is why I don't think the Democrats are winning, and you should do this. We need to be capturing this. And why? Here's what I think happens. Beto was there, and I was in Congress for 12 years, and we said we were proud to be there. Both of us said we'd rather eat glass than be there now, so that's true. But I do think there becomes this comfort thing, and I'm watching it with these Republicans. They're apparently afraid of being primary or whatever. How would you want that job so bad that you could lose all your dignity and just say that? I thought for sure, I won a congressional race in 2010 after I voted for the ACA because I figured I was going to lose. And I said, well, hell, I'll go back to teaching school because I'm going to vote to expand health care. And at the time in 2010, I thought the ACA was going to be the thing that fixed it all. Let's all be very candid. Let's not just keep working on fixing the ACA. Let's get universal health care. But I won that race with 47% of the vote. Third-party candidate, drained off votes, who I became best friends with, thank God, you know, everything. But look, I think people get fat and happy a little bit. I'm not going to criticize and their strategy in this. Look, we all know a government shutdown would have been painful, but this isn't painful. This is painful, and it's going to get worse. So I would just say, I'm not going to criticize, but what I would say is, the folks who are a little bit better saying, let's just vote people in who are going to fight their ass off. Let's just vote people in. And that's just really good.
You know, the arguments that Schumer was making for, you know, he first told us he was going to fight this thing and stick with Democrats. Every single Democrat in the House, except for one, stood together because they understood that unity was the only leverage that we had at this moment of truth, at this unparalleled crisis, at least in our lifetimes as Americans. Chuck Schumer said he was going to stick with it. And then for some reason, he capitulates, he caves, and he surrenders. And listen, if it were normal times, and any time before now is normal by comparison, right? When Tim and I voted against every government shutdown. Ted Cruz shut down the government in 2013, 2014 because he wanted to take away health care. Yes, I voted against that. How stupid, how dumb, how destructive to our country. If these were normal times, okay, maybe I get the logic from Schumer. But to the governor's point, this is literally the crisis, not of our generation, but the crisis since the Civil War tore this country apart. And if we are found wanting in the breach at this moment, we will lose what Abraham Lincoln called the last best hope of earth forever. So no more playing nice. In my opinion, just mine alone, Chuck Schumer needs to step aside, resign, whatever the way. We need to stand in positions of power, giving power to God.
You wonder whether you have power as a single American citizen member of this community. Some of you know the next person who's going to approach this stage. I got to know her very well.
When she lost her extraordinarily beautiful daughter in the Santa Fe High School shooting nearly 7 years ago. If anyone would have had an excuse to drop out and not show their face again or be involved in the politics that so badly failed her child, and too many other kids in a state that leads the nation in school shootings, it would be this young woman that you're about to hear about. But not only did she stay in the fight, she worked on legislation. She got it passed on safe gun storage, which is one of the things that Tim Walz is working on and talking about. Robin Hart is the woman who got it done. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the man.
Thank you, Beto. So as Beto said, my daughter died under Donald Trump's watch in 2018, and there was no way in hell that I was going to vote for him again. But as a gun violence survivor, I was watching the debates and watching your messaging, and watching all Democrat messaging under a microscope. And I needed to be stronger. I need to hear the words, ban AR-15. If anybody sees my blue Jeep out there with my custom plates that say ban AR-15, that's me. So I'm speaking on behalf of the Uvalde families and the Santa Fe families. We need stronger messaging from Democrats across the nation on ending gun violence. It's the #1 killer of children across the country. Thank you.
We'll do this. We can do it pretty orderly. 4th grade teachers, some of you are here. We'll do this. We got folks that are waiting. Let's just pop around. We'll have folks from kind of point and just tell us, like you heard this. People are saying what they want to see happen. So go ahead, ladies. Yeah. Now I'll repeat the question. High school teacher, they can do whatever the hell they want because they're already in heaven. They already get in. So yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Coach. All right. So, thank you, Beto, for organizing this, for being here. I've been volunteering for your campaign since 2018.
Yeah. You know, I don't know a lot, but I know how to be a governor. He would be a great governor. Just so you know. Oh, she's the best.
Governors! But I don't know how to look at my students' faces and explain to them checks and balances, how the government works, and say, but it ain't not right now. It's kind of demoralizing. I feel like I'm doing the work. I helped organize a bipartisan PAC for our school board to try to get vouchers out of our school board. I'm on the ground, I'm doing it, but I walk into my state representative's office. He has a helmet from my high school sitting on his wall, but won't talk to me. Our congressman.
Take his job.
What I don't know what we're supposed to do. Like, we're fired up, we're here, we want it, clearly, but I don't know what's next. I feel like I'm trying to do the from the bottom up grassroots, and it's not working. And we still don't have funding for students. We're accessing teachers because they increase the class ratio because they won't release funding. What do we do?
Yeah. Look, we're not going to, I wish I had the answer to it on it, but I think what we understand is this is happening across the country. There is a unified voice no matter what state you're in. The trick that we're going to have to figure out is to organize differently, powered by people, other organizations are out there. The Democratic Party is not going to come in and save it. We should be there to help facilitate some of this. So thanks for what you're doing, sir. Yeah.
So tired of seeing a bulldozer wreck what we have. I never thought at this age I'd be dealing with these criminals in office. And I've been strategizing about what we're going to do as Democrats or as citizens at the most is an important thing. But my God, we need a boycott. We need more than this. We need a national boycott. We need a
I'm with this guy. I'm with this guy on the national strike. Your opinions you want to do.
The media does nothing. I've been watching Cliff Cat, a comedian, standing up to what's going on. I appreciate what you two have done. Tim, it's been great seeing you. It's just great
Thanks,
seeing
man.
you. And Beto, I've seen you and how close you came to being governor. But with a bulldozer taking this apart now, we can't be sitting here strategizing of what can be, but what is right now. We need to get in the streets.
There is a national day of action. It is planned for April 5th. There are more than 500 events organized around the country. You can go to the website, handsoff2025.com. You can sign up for the nearest one here. If there's not one in your neighborhood, we expect you to start the one in your neighborhood and make sure everyone's organized. April 5. Hands on 2025.
Don't wait for some leader who was elected. Just lead like you're doing. Just go. Just go.
Hi, thanks so much for coming. My name is Eric. I am a founding board member of Trans Rollers United, a completely trans and non-binary roller derby team. If anybody interested in roller derby, they play in that building over there. But I've been unemployed since June of last year. And I've applied to 800 different jobs in the last 9 months. And with the executive order on gender in the workplace, it's been really difficult to try and decide. So I'm a social media manager, so my life is out there, by the way.
Is it? Hey, well, look, it's cold in Minnesota, but we have protections and we're a sanctuary state for folks, so they
I've seen your Facebook ads telling us to move to Minnesota.
That's correct. The cold isn't bad.
But trying to
Look, this. You see it. They try and demonize. They try and take a segment of our population. Let's be very clear here. What the trans community is asking for is simple, basic human rights, and that's when we start negotiating that is when we get into trouble. And so I think the biggest thing is that the states are going to be the protections on us. Now, I'm sorry for that, and I didn't come down here to coach teachers and things like that, but I've been telling our biggest companies or whatever, why would you locate in the states where we're going to criminalize for their own health care, why someone is out there doing this? At some point, like this gentleman, we need to make them pay with their money. We need to make them pay economically. So I would just say, this is going to be a rough road. I think for all the rest of us to be clear on this, just be standing up. I go back to what I said in the beginning. If you're not for freedom for everyone, then you're for privilege. And why do we let them define rights like a pie? If somebody gets a slice of that pie of freedom, you don't lose some because they're not a goddamn pie. They're human rights. And it's like, oh, keep fighting. All right. Got one? You guys ready to go veterans? Yes, sir. Yeah. There we go. I think, call that guy. There he's in. This is how it works. This is how it works. What are they offering your neighbors that we can't refute and give them something better and get out of that space? We got some other people. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. All right, everybody, let's go to one. Quiet.
Give them your website where they can contact you.
People are watching. Yes. Good. Thank you. That's what we can do. We can run for office. You got some folks? You're here.
Governor, Congressman, thank you for joining. Town halls are great. This is a tough one, and you guys have brought up Elon Musk. Nature abhors a vacuum, and we've kind of gotten here over the last 20 years because of the rising deficit, the rising debt.
Yeah.
Revenues are up 50% over the last 10 years. Spending's up 90%.
Yeah.
80% of the budget comes from Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, the defense, and interest on the debt. It's a hard decision. What are you actually planning on doing to fix that? Because we're going to all be in a very bad situation in 20 years.
I actually fall into this space. But this question that he had, I fell as a deficit hawk in Congress. I went to Congress and said I would not take a pay raise until we balanced the budget. I never got a pay raise. I never got a pay raise. But making the case on this, here's the issue. States are required to balance their budgets. States are able to do this. The issue that we're going to have on this is that they've got us into the position on Social Security. I would make the case one of the biggest fixes to that long-term debt is to just raise that cap on Social Security benefits. That's what I think. Let's have a conversation just to be clear. Cutting USAID is going to mean we're going to have to spend more on weapons because we're weakening our soft power. We're weakening our ability to force control. And I do agree, I am in this camp. If we as Democrats ignore long-term debt, if we ignore inefficiencies in government, we end up buying them. You can be progressive and ask for agencies to deliver and then hold them accountable and deliver the services. Because when we don't, we get in a situation like this that our neighbors think what Musk is doing is actually saving money. He's not. So I think asking this hard question of ourselves, I know in Minnesota, we set the balanced budget. I've had to make hard decisions. We've had to pull back on some of the spending in areas that I care deeply about. But we have a rule that what we will do is we will protect the most vulnerable first, and we will protect the gains that we've made. And that's the way that we should approach it. All right. Let's go to the back. Yeah, go to the back. Do not get measles. That's what we do.
Gentlemen in the back, clear now.
Yeah, you can holler. I'll hear it. We're just trying to go fast. You want to get that? We don't have it, you know. Yeah, thanks for sticking up for us.
Yeah, great question. You know, the state takeover the school district here in Houston, HIST. Local control out the window. Of all of the thousands of school districts in the state of Texas, how did they pick this one, right? Maybe related to, of all the places that you would want to close down polling places, not only the fastest growing black and brown neighborhoods, but college campuses right now. What are you afraid of, those who are in positions of power? Why don't you trust the voters and taxpayers and parents and educators to make their own decisions? If you believe in freedom, to the governor's point, it is freedom and liberty and democracy for each and every single one of us. How do we fix this? There is no shortcut. First things first, let's get behind great school board candidates who can serve as trustees on these institutions. Elections coming up soon. Second, we got to register and talk to the voters who can make a difference in this election. If you want to be a VDR, not easy work, but you want to walk the talk, sign up with Powered by People, we will put you to work. And then third, we have got to win political power statewide in the state of Texas to protect public education, our women's right to choose, raise the minimum wage, legalize marijuana once and for all, protect veterans who put their lives on the line. Only by winning elections can we get that done.
Hey, we legalized cannabis and the winners are better. I'll tell you that. She's got a Beto shirt on. They can ask a question. Yeah, go. Yes.
Tammy Reed, school board.
You are on live to thousands of people. You know what? Here was a message in Minnesota. You know something that was super popular? In Minnesota, we passed a law that every child gets breakfast and lunch every single day for school. And here's the message. While these folks are banning books, we're banning hunger. So take it and run and make the case. We got a cavalry hat. We're going. Hey. Yeah!
Is representing the 956 right now, RGB.
Yeah.
Says, what advice can we give him? He's running for school board. For all the school board trustees, folks running for school
How
board.
many are running for office this year? Raise your hand if you're running for office.
As many as we can. Well, Helio, you know why you're running, right? And so, this is my free advice. What are you paid for it? I would knock on every door of every likely voter. In a school board race in Texas, you can knock on every door of everyone. The turnout for school board races is 3%, 5%, 8%. It's not 50%. You can meet every likely voter. You show up and you do two things. One, you tell them why you're running and what you're going to do for them. Two, and I know you know this, Rogelio, you listen to them. You ask them, hey, what's important to you? My first race running for city council, knocking on my first door just next to Western Canyon in El Paso. Hey, I'm Beto O'Rourke. I want to work on property taxes and make sure that public safety is a priority and that our parks are green. And the woman stops and she says, that's wonderful. But I want you to save this canyon next to my house. Developers are going to build on it. So please save Russell Canyon. Second door, I knock on it, I give her my spiel. She interrupts me. Hey, I want you to save Russell Canyon. Third door I knock on, the woman answers, "Hi, my name is Beto O'Rourke. I'm here to save the rest of the canyon." We want that same council base, but he'll go knock on every door, listen to and talk to every single one.
That is. Let's do a couple more. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yeah. The question is first responders, or firefighters, or public safety officials. Yeah. Look, it's just like veterans. Republicans will stand in front of every veteran that they have, but when it comes time to stand behind them, they're not there. Beto and I were in Congress when we watched the Republicans try and take down the 9/11 first responder bills for the folks who received that. We need to hold it accountable in Minnesota. We need to make sure that I stand in front of them and tell them we're going to fund for them. The issues around first responders is really challenging now, something we passed in Minnesota, and I would encourage it nationally on this. We see an incredible amount of rare cancers amongst firefighters. I think all of us know why, because of where they're around. We don't make them go to court or argue that. If you get a rare cancer and you are a firefighter, it's presumed in the line of duty and we pay. We pay you, your family, and everything else. Those are the things we have to do. Got it?
So thank you for coming here, Governor Walz.
We're glad you're here.
So I'm not from the Fort Bend County area, but I saw you running the town hall not long ago here. So you gave me the option to get signed up to school for the New York State school.
That was a good choice. Teachers will sign off. Sign off.
So I wanted to, I'm a high school student. I'm a sophomore, I'm 16 years old. I'll be able to vote in the next midterm.
Yeah.
And we wanted to figure out how do we get the youth
Yeah.
in politics. So I have a
Yeah.
suggestion.
Good.
If we think back to December, right after the election, our excellent representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she was running against Jerry Connolly for the oversight chair, and Jerry Connolly won out of seniority. If there's anything that pisses high schoolers off, it is seniority. So if we really want to get them active in politics, we really have got to stop with seniority and give it to the most deserving candidates.
Yeah. I lost one of those races. I lost one of those races in Congress. But I eventually got the seat because the person who beat me went to federal prison. True story. True story. So, look, not only can you vote next time, you can also run here at some point too. So, come on. Come on. Let's have it. Explain the shirt to me first, though. All right, there you go. Thank you. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Well, look. I said this, and I thought it was the strongest pitch when we were trying to get votes at the end. I said, if for no other reason, vote for us so you don't have to see this guy on TV every goddamn day. And I want right now, and I've said this might be the most unsatisfactory, I told you so, political tour in the history of the world. But let's just all agree that Kamala Harris was probably the most qualified person to run for Congress. And we're kidding ourselves. We are kidding ourselves if we don't think because we have a highly qualified and accomplished black woman running that's why people voted the other way. So we would stand for it. Thank you. I got a state I gotta go govern. But I think we can stay a few more minutes. I know we had you here, you've been here a long time, but if you want to stay a little longer, let's go. Let's hear a few more calls. Yes, ma'am, over there.
Recently, one of the Baptist church leaders at Central Baptist Church in Deer Park spoke very badly to his Sunday service about the person who the Deer Park ISD chose to be the superintendent because she's gay. How do we stop these assholes from taking this and turning this country into a Christian nationalist country?
Tax the church. Tax the church.
You know, the governor may not know this, but there are no campaign finance rules in the state of Texas. The governor of the state of Texas can, and he did, take a $6 million check from one billionaire Christian nationalist donor, and you wonder why he has such a hard on to privatize public education. And it is because of the money. Always follow the money. I said it earlier, these guys are crazy. They're very often criminal, and they are always corrupt to the core. That's where this stuff is coming from. So, we've got to fight back with these school board elections. We've got to win state representative seats. We've got to beat the governor. We're not going to do it if we start working in 2026. We've got to start working in March of 2025.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Branch. I'm from Orange, Texas. I drove 2 hours to be here. And he does not represent me. My question is, and I think the majority of the people that are sitting around here will agree, when are they going to start impeachment process on Donald Trump?
Listening to all your promo is great because I love this because you know that the news story on several of those stations is going to be you were all busting in here. What are you going to do with your George Soros money, all of you? Are you going to buy something new with that? Look, speak to them. Tell them what has to happen. And Democrats are, oh, we can't do that. We can't do this. Look, there were opportunities after the 2020 election that folks should have moved and done things and did not. And now we got into the situation where we're at. We can't make that mistake again. And I said this, we're going to get back in power. And Donald Trump said he was going to be on a revenge tour. And I said this, they said, well, what are you going to do? I said, we are too. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to rain down health care on people. And we're going to rain down education on people. And we're going to do what people are asking us to do. But look, don't allow anyone to tell you anything that's happening now is normal. Don't allow anyone to tell you to calm down, that it's not as bad as you think. It is. But look, someone asked earlier, and I didn't answer the question. I'm not saying this is silver lining, and the destruction they're doing, the bulldozer as it was described, is happening. We need to make sure when we build back, that we're building back to make sure that everyone is heard, and everyone is represented. And everyone is. Let's do one or two more. Because we're bad at this.
Yeah. So this is the thing. You know, if you think that elections are won on policy, do you think the crazy shit that Donald Trump said would have polled well? Invading Greenland, taking over Panama, making Canada the 51st state of America. decimating Social Security, Medicare, and none of this shit is popular. The one thing that he showed is that he's crazy enough to believe what he's saying and to see it through. Democrats, who support every popular issue in this country, including this one on immigration, have, present company excluded, they've shrunk from every single fight. Oh shit, is immigration gonna be on, well maybe I just won't talk about it and it will go away. Maybe I just won't visit the border and nobody will notice. Maybe I just won't do anything for the people who have come here and made America great by their very presence. Well, listen, we're gonna stand up and fight for all of us, including the immigrants. El Paso, Texas, my hometown. Walnut is not the safest cities in America, not despite, but because it is a city of immigrants who have chosen to make their stand in this country. Houston, Texas, the most diverse city in the United States of America. And we're going to lead it. We are going to lead on these issues. Voters smell fear, they smell weakness, and they smelled it in our party when we didn't stand up and fight for the people that we believe in, the people that we historically served and protected, and did not have the courage of our convictions. No more, folks. I agree. The defining line is our party is you fight or you surrender. We are going to be a We gotta go. We fight propaganda, but telling the truth. That's the question here. When we don't fight it, let me just tell you one quick thing, point of privilege. When we don't fight it, and you have this guy in the highest position of power in the land, and he keeps talking about invasions, and describes people as though they were animals, that's his word, as dumb beasts, and he treats them that way, he puts them in cages, like you would put a dog or a wild animal that you are about to put down, but it's a human fucking being. When he says this, when he's at a rally in Florida in 2019, he says, folks, what are we going to do about this invasion? And folks, at that rally, someone yells out, shoot them. And everybody laughs, and Donald Trump smiles. Months later, one of our fellow Texans drove with his AK-47 from Allen, Texas, 600 miles to El Paso, showed up in my hometown of August that year, walked into a Walmart in full battle gear, with hundreds of rounds and started shooting people. He told cops afterwards when he was arrested, he said, I came to kill Mexicans. I came to repel the invasion that I was warned about. That's not just on Donald Trump. That's not just on that terrorist who came in and killed all those people in my hometown. That is, to your point, on each and every single one of us who did not stand up to be counted at our moment of truth for this town. So let us not make that same mistake again. We are going to fight for one another. We're going to do it every single day.
Hi, Beto. Hi. My name is Maha. I am born and raised in Fort Bend. Lived in Sugar Land. People. Lived here my whole life. And I am a first-generation Pakistani Muslim American. This entire election cycle, running around my community, trying to get as many people as I can to vote for you, to vote for Kamala, and one thing that was really difficult to overcome was Gaza. It is such a difficult situation, and it is so painful to our community. What I wish we felt from your campaign was just emotional honesty. And when I talk to people and I explain to them that there is a difference between the two of you, there is. The right thing was, I can't feel that. And so my question is, do you feel like the obsession of decorum was the downfall of the Democratic Party this election cycle? And how can you, as an elected official, convince your colleagues to be a little bit more emotionally honest? Also, Beto,
This is what Beto is just explaining. People understand that when you get caught in the middle and you try and message something instead of trying to just state where you're at. I've gone that issue for years. I did it as a congressman. I did it as someone who taught global culture studies. And look, when we left the city of Dearborn, basically so that Donald Trump could go there and speak, is it any surprise that people voted the other way? And I think if we're not learning from those lessons, and I said, I own all these, because I'll go back to this again, had we won that damn election, we wouldn't have to be having this. But I also would attest you all on this. Do you think that had we won this election, that they wouldn't be in the streets? No. You don't think they would have been screaming about everything, that energy? You know it, you know it. So I hear you acknowledge it, and I think if we fail to learn these lessons, it's going to get pretty dark. And again, not for candidates, it's going to get dark for the most vulnerable. So, all right. Sir, you want me to watch? Yeah. Oh, look into that. Why are you wearing a coat down here is what I'm wondering. You better watch. Yeah.
How's that?
There you go.
There's so much going on. I don't know that we can wrap it all up. There's too many questions. I think what I'm asking from you guys as you're running is kind of, I'm sorry, I forget your name, but being truthful, kind of wearing your heart on your sleeve. You've already run, so I think there's so many issues that are misunderstood in the Democrat, liberal, whatever parties. People are just confused. And coming from Minnesota, now living here, I agree with Democrats. I agree with people that shouldn't be here not being here. But there's a fine line. That doesn't mean everybody that has come to America is a threat.
Yeah.
And so I think addressing that and being really honest with that the next go around is really, really important. So that there isn't confusion thinking, oh, we're all for having criminals here, or we want AK-47s and ARs. That's not the case.
Yeah, they're masterful for messaging. I never saw anything in my life. Everyone here who's a veteran, and I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, where you were at, there is not a single veteran in America who has any doubt whatsoever of how screwed up what happened with this text chain was and what they were doing. That is not even debatable. But look, they're going to weasel out of this, and we had to listen to the shit about Hillary's emails for 3 years. I'm a Beto. No one's going to fix this for us. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be over tomorrow. I would say buckle up and be in this thing for the long haul, because that's what it's going to take.